Welcome to Expedition Bible. In this video, I travel to Egypt to explore one of the most significant discoveries ever made in biblical archaeology.
From the manuscript that supposedly came from an angel to the book that lists all the demons in the spiritual world, some books out there are straight up creepy.
Today we're going to do a quick book review on one of the finest, most helpful, clear, and concise books ever written on the art of magic.
But none of them compares to this Latin book that's older than the Bible itself. And that's not even the most mysterious fact. It's the part where it reveals how to harness the power of magic. Join us as we unmask this occult mystery. Let's get started. Number 12. Arbatel de magia veterum. The Arbatel de magia veterum is a Latin grimoire that dates back to the 16th century. Published in 1575 in Switzerland, the book deals with Renaissance ceremonial magic, which is obvious from the title. In English, it translates to Arbatel, on the magic of the ancients. What's interesting is that A.E. Waite, an English poet, assumed that the title was from Hebrew and represented the name of an angel from which the author supposedly learned magic. As for the content of the book, well, it's intriguing, to say the least. The Arbatel zeroes in on humanity, celestial hierarchies, and the relationship between the two. However, the book doesn't teach black magic. For the people of the time, the content may have been groundbreaking, but in today's time, the book appears to be rooted in religion, specifically Christianity, according to A.E. Waite. Why's that? Well, for starters, the book asks readers to interact with other people in society, which is not what most books on black magic say. Then there are lessons on charity, kindness, and honesty, with some obscure rituals here and there, of course. What's even more interesting is that the Bible is quoted numerous times throughout the book. Apart from its intriguing content, the book is also revolutionary because it's regarded as the first of its kind. How's that, you ask? Well, the Arbatel used theosophy in an occult sense for the very first time. For those of you who don't know, theosophy is a religious system established in the United States back during the late 19th century. And guess what? It was also the first text to differentiate between human, aka anthroposophia, and divine knowledge, aka theosophia. These days, the book is more popular in the circles of historians compared to mages. However, there's no shortage of books out there that attract black magic enthusiasts as well. Number 11. The Sworn Book of Honorius. The Sworn Book of Honorius is a fascinating medieval grimoire that has captured the attention of scholars and occult enthusiasts alike. It's believed to be written by the Honorius of Thebes. For those of you who didn't take advanced history, he is the creator of the Theban alphabet, and if we go by the book, he is the son of Euclid, master of the Thebians. Now, what makes the book intriguing to this day is the fact that it's one of the oldest and most influential grimoires out there. According to what historians have been able to conclude, the Sworn Book dates back to the 13th century, since the first mention of it didn't pop up in historical text until the 1347 trial record of Étienne Pépin from Mende, Gévaudan, in the kingdoms of France and Navarre. Historians believe that the magicians of those times got together to preserve their teachings in written form, since they were being violently persecuted by the church back then. Meanwhile, the oldest manuscript dates to the 14th century, and the first printed edition was published in 1629. That's enough proof that the book was revolutionary for its time. However, what about the content? Well, the text is extensive, spanning 93 chapters that cover a wide range of topics, from soul salvation to theft recovery and treasure finding. It provides detailed instructions for conjuring and commanding demons, as well as various other magical rituals. The author claims to have compiled the works of Solomon, incorporating elements characteristic of the Pseudo-Solomonic literature, including the Seal of Solomon. Interestingly, the Sworn Book also references Ars Notoria, the medieval text on angelic magic, demonstrating its deep connections to earlier magical traditions. Given the sensitive content of the book, strict restrictions were placed to prevent wide distribution. For example, a person was allowed to make only one copy, which he was supposed to take to his grave. Overall, the sworn Book of Honorius serves as a crucial artifact in the study of medieval magic, and its extensive content and mysterious origins continue to fascinate those interested in the history of magic and the occult. That said, there are certain books that take on even more dangerous topics. Number 10. Pseudomonarchia daemonum. The Pseudomonarchia daemonum, aka the false monarchy of demons, first popped up in 1577 as an appendix to Johann Weyer's De Praestigiis Daemonum. It's an abridged grimoire similar to the Ars Goetia, the first book of the Lesser Key of Solomon. FYI, it's another book on magic, mysticism, and demons. However, the Pseudomonarchia takes things up a notch by listing down different demons and how to summon them. Now, Ars Goetia gives out the same information, but there are some differences between the two. For starters, the Pseudomonarchia lists 69 demons, whereas the Ars Goetia names 72. Some demons appear in a different order or have different characteristics in the two texts. Interestingly, Pruflos, a demon mentioned in the Pseudomonarchia, doesn't appear in Ars Goetia. Another difference is that the Pseudomonarchia doesn't include the sigils of the demons, which are present in the Ars Goetia. However, the real question is how someone like Weyer came across such information. Well, he claimed to have been inspired by a manuscript he called Liber Officiorum Spirituum, so Liber Dictus Empto. Salomonis, which translates to the Book of the Offices of Spirits, or the book called Empto of Solomon, concerning the princes and kings of demons. This is likely connected to another manuscript from 1583, titled The Office of Spirits. Both works seem to build upon a 15th century manuscript called Le Livre des Esprits. This book lists 30 demons mentioned in Ars Goetia. As for why Weyer felt the need to write something like this, well, he initially did it with the intention of mocking those who practiced magic. However, in a weird twist of events, the book ended up being popular among dark magic users and witches, ruining Weyer's grand plans. Number 9. The Picatrix, or Gayat al-Hikam. Moving on, there's the Picatrix. For clarification, the book is not Latin in origin. The text is Arabic and a perfect blend of astrology, science, and philosophy. However, the work was translated into Latin back in 1256. On that note, historians aren't too sure about the origins of the Picatrix to this day. The popular opinion is that the book was penned in 11th century Andalusia. However, it's the unbelievable and disturbing magic formulas that make the book infamous. One such spell involves binding someone to a particular place by giving them a mixture of human fluids like blood and semen boiled together with honey. The individual cannot leave the area once he or she has taken this potion. There are also some very strange combinations using blood, urine, or even brain stuff mixed with opium. So it's not a surprise that throughout ages magicians have found the Picatrix's unique blend of celestial knowledge and practical rituals useful, just like this next book. At least, readers can figure out what the text means, unlike this next book. Number 8. The Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript is one of the most studied occult books out there. Though it's short with only 250 pages, scholars are still a long way from deciphering the book. Why's that, you ask? Well, the book's written in an unknown script known as Voynich. As far as the origins are concerned, well, the manuscript's pages, otherwise known as the vellum, have been carbon dated back to the 15th century. A little history lesson here. Before humans managed to make pages out of trees, they used animal membranes and skins for writing purposes, which is what we call vellum. That said, the real mystery concerns the author of the book. To date, historians have been scratching their heads to unmask the person who penned this puzzling text. Some think that the language is a code that needs to be deciphered. Others think it's a non-fiction work. There are some who believe that the manuscript is fake. However, it's hard to reach that conclusion once you go through the actual content of the book. It features illustrations of naked people, plants, and astronomical charts resembling the zodiac. The book was moved to Yale University's Voynich Rare Book and Manuscript Library in 1969. However, for folks who would never have the opportunity to get anywhere near the book, Yale University published the text online back in 2020, making it available for everyone. That said, this next book is bound to send shivers down your spine. Number 7. The Munich Manual. Dating back to the 15th century, the Munich Manual is also a head-scratcher for scholars. It's penned in Latin and is also known as the Necromancer's Manual since it focuses on demonology and necromancy. The book is the perfect introduction to black magic as it contains different spells for illusions, looking into the future, and even controlling others. The main focus seems to be psychological and divinatory, which is a form of magic illusion, which is interesting because if you pick up other books from this time period, you'll discover that they focus on angels for the most part. However, the Munich Manual stands out for being one of the few books that touches on the world of demons. The most notable part is the text that details the ritual on how to make the Mirror of Lilith, which is used in divination. In the Kabbalah, Lilith was Adam's first wife, before God made the more docile Eve. You won't find a mention of her in the Bible, but she is named in the Dead Sea Scrolls. As for the mirror, well, they're believed to be portals to her universe, allowing magicians to seek guidance from her. Well, at least in theory. For some reason, there's only one existing manuscript of the text, which isn't even complete. It's even the first few pages that touch on the beginning of the first ritual. Number 6. The Black Pullet. Next up, the Black Pullet, or the Hen That Lays Golden Eggs, is a famous grimoire that consists of works dedicated to the science of magical talismans and rings, as well as necromancy and Kabbalah. It was allegedly written in the 18th century by some anonymous French officer who served in Napoleon's army. The story takes place during Napoleon's Egyptian expedition, where he is attacked by Arab soldiers and ends up being the only one who survives. Later on, an old Turkish man saves him from death, introducing him to magic teachings hinted at by ancient manuscripts saved from the destruction of Ptolemy's library. Content-wise, the Black Pullet illuminates ways through which magic properties such as talismanic rings or amulets can be created and instructions on how to master their amazing powers. One of its most interesting aspects is the concept after which the book is named the Black Pullet, since it was believed to give its owner unlimited wealth upon successful instruction. This belief that a magical hen lays golden eggs is similar to many fables or folklore throughout different periods. What's more, the Black Pullet is frequently linked to other grimoires like the Grand Grimoire, aka Le Dragon Rouge, and the Black Screech Owl. The latter is sometimes confused with the Black Pullet since it's an alternate printing of the original text with minor changes. These three texts claim to give insights into ancient forms of magic. Even now, those into occultism or magical traditions have a keen interest in the Black Pullet. However, what's really impressive is the fact that this grimoire has been translated into many languages, including online formats. You'd think that they burn something that deals with dangerous subjects, but no. Number 5. The Oera Linda Book. The Oera Linda Book is particularly famous among occult circles because of its links to Nazism. The book is penned in Old Frisian and, as unbelievable as it sounds, documents the events of the universe as old as 4 millennia, even big mysteries like the lost city of Atlantis. However, scholars soon concluded that the book was a hoax. They tracked it back to a German supplier and figured out it was written in 1850. Now, this is where things get interesting. For some reason, the Oera Linda ended up catching Heinrich Himmler's eye. He was the Reich leader of the notorious SS of the Nazi Party from 1929 until 1945. Heck, he liked the book to the point he didn't think twice about defending its authenticity in front of scholars and historians. He had it renamed to the Nordic Bible. and believed it supported the Nazis' beliefs about the Aryan race being superior. Why? Well, according to the book, they were the descendants of Atlantis. The book also said that the Nordic people were responsible for the genius behind many of the innovations in the Middle East, Africa, and the Mediterranean. Still, even Nazis can't compete with books that give step-by-step instructions on how to enslave demons. Number 4. The Grand Grimoire. Grand Grimoire, otherwise known as the Le Dragon Rouge, is a famous black magic grimoire that has fascinated occultists and researchers alike. Its origin seems unclear, as different editions date it back to 1421, 1521, and even 1522. However, Owen Davies, a British historian, argues that the first edition could have been created around 1702, while a more popular version appeared in 1750. Meanwhile, according to 19th-century French occultist Eliphas Lévy, present-day editions of Le Dragon Rouge are forgeries of a more genuine, older text. The introductory part is supposed to be written by Antonio Veneciana del Rabina, who was inspired by King Solomon's original writings. In fact, most of the material in the book seems to have been inspired by the older grimoires, such as Key of Solomon and Lesser Key of Solomon, both of which are considered pseudepigraphical works as connected with Solomon. The main purpose behind Grand Grimoire is to summon Lucifer or Lucifuge Rofacal in order to strike a deal with the devil. If we go into more detail, the first section of the manuscript is divided into two main parts. The first book gives a thorough guide on how to summon demons and build tools that are necessary to enforce their obedience. In the second volume, you will find two divisions, Sanctum Regnum, which gives advice on negotiating with a demon, thus allowing you to control this spirit without using instruments from the first volume, but comes with more risk. Meanwhile, the second part, Secrets, de l'art magique du Grand Grimoire, contains magic incantations and ceremonies. The document also has some spells for winning lottery games or becoming invisible to others. So it's not a surprise that the Grand Grimoire remains relevant even today in popular culture, where it is referred to by fictional books and TV shows such as God's Demon, published in 2007, as well as The Sleepy Hollow Show. Its reputation as an important piece of occult literature lives on, fascinating people who are interested in mystical matters. Number 3. The Rohon Codex. Next up, the Rohon Codex is yet another puzzling text that keeps some scholars up at night. There's almost no information about this book. No one knows who wrote it when it was written, or what language it was written in for that matter. The one thing that scholars do know is that the Rohon Codex popped up for the first time in the early 19th century. However, one group of historians thinks that the book is actually a hoax from the 18th century, mostly because of the weird writing system. Meanwhile, some studies date back the text to 1530 Venice. As for the text, well, like we said, scholars have no idea. Some historians believe that the content looks like Hungarian runes. These days, the book is safely tucked in the library of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Unfortunately, not anyone can go up and ask to read it. You need special permission. However, a microfilm copy is available. Back in 2015, Hamburg University took on the daunting task of rescanning the book, but they only managed to publish 8 higher-resolution pages. For context, there are 448 pages in total, each of which features illustrations depicting religious, laic, and military scenes. The crude illustrations seem to indicate a situation where Christian, pagan, and Muslim religions coexist. You'll also discover the symbols of the cross, crescent, and swastika. But that's nowhere as creepy as this next book that supposedly came from an angel. Number 2. The Book of Soyga. The Book of Soyga, a 16th century Latin treasure trove on magic, has captivated scholars and enthusiasts with its enigmatic contents and mysterious origins for years, and rightfully so. As unbelievable as it sounds, the book was once in the possession of renowned Elizabethan scholar John Dee. And get this, The book remained lost for a couple of years until its rediscovery in the 1990s. As for its origins, well, that's a mystery that historians haven't been able to crack. Some scholars believe that it may have been gifted to Adam by angels, while others suggest it originated from ancient Egyptian or Babylonian sources. In fact, Dee is the one to be blamed for the angel theory. From what scholars know, Dee traveled across the globe for the sole purpose of supernaturally contacting angels through the services of a scryer, Edward Kelly. This is when he stumbled across the Book of Soyga. However, when Dee was asked about where he specifically found the book, he claimed to have talked to the angel Uriel. The text itself consists of cryptic symbols, letters, and astronomical charts. Despite numerous attempts at trying to read the foreign language, no one has ever been able to figure out what it means. However, what historians do know is that the book's focus on alphabets, Hebrew-like writing, and astrology aligns with the magical trends prevalent during the Renaissance. The only person who did know what the book said was Dee, who studied the book extensively. That there's hardly a book out there that can compete with the Devil's Bible. Number 1. The Codex Gigas. The Codex Gigas, which is usually referred to as the Devil's Bible, is the biggest medieval illuminated manuscript that has survived till now, measuring 92 centimeters in length. It was produced around the early 1300s in Podlages Benedictine Monastery, located in Bohemia, better known as the Czech Republic today. In fact, a lot of other dark magic books have also originated from the region around the same time, including the Vulgate Bible and several secular texts. As for the Codex Gigas, historians are drawn to it for several reasons. For starters, there's the unusually large page size. However, the real head-turner is the full-page portrait of Satan, and let's not get started on the pages themselves. The Codex Gigas has 310 leaves made from vellum, which, as unbelievable as it sounds, came from approximately 160 donkey or calf skins. What's more, the book weighs about 74.8 kilograms and is bound with wooden boards covered with leather and beautifully illustrated metallic armatures. As for the contents of the mysterious book, it's rumored to have been written by a monk called Hermann the Recluse, who made an alleged deal with the devil by promising to write one night such a huge book as punishment for violating his asceticism vows. This story has added some mystery around this manuscript, although scientific experts believe that it took 20 years for the book to be completed. What's even more intriguing is that despite being a text that supposedly came from the devil, you'll find parts from the Bible, Josephus's writings, Isidore of Seville's texts, and medical treatises, among others. It also includes illustrations depicting heaven and earth, along with a famous full-page image of the devil set against the heavenly city to depict good versus evil. Its journey through time saw it pass through various ownerships, including that of Rudolf II's Imperial Library in Prague, until being seized by the Sweden army during the 30 Years' War. These days, the book is safely tucked away at Sweden's National Library in Stockholm, where it inspires both scholars and the general public alike due to its detailed portrayal of history, mythology, and creativity to this day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.